Hello, everybody, and welcome to this episode of Small Business Success Talk. I'm your host, Christy Smallwood, and I am, as usual, super excited to be here with you today. I want to give a huge shout out, first of all, to my local chamber partner, the Chamber of St. Matthews. I love these people. They've been my support system the entire time since I've started my business. Highly recommend you find you a local chamber as well to be your business support system. With that, I want to move right into this time of year is the holidays. I am slowing down a little bit and on purpose with the podcast so that I can kind of recalibrate some things and we can update the look and things like that. Is if you can see the back wall here, I'm making some adjustments. If you're on YouTube watching it all, I'm excited about what's coming up for the future. And at the same time, my heart is very heavy lately. I've had a lot of bad news with some people passing and just really getting an overwhelming wave of emotions I didn't realize still had in there somewhere. So there's a lot of things that have been coming up for me just as a human being, let alone a lot of things that are coming up about the business. So for those who haven't been around a long time for this podcast, I actually have two businesses and I have this show and I'm a speaker author. And I'm in the process of redoing the book a little bit, and I'm excited about that. So stay tuned. You'll see some information out there. And with both of my businesses, it's that time of year where I've had some clients, it's for the marketing agency specifically, so Eagle Eye Strategic Marketing. Shout out to my team for being supportive of this podcast. In that business, I do have some clients that will what I call graduate out. So they become alumni and are able to do things either on their own or they've just gotten to a place where they don't have to have my handholding. I do have other clients who are like, you do everything. I don't want to touch it. So I still have a couple of those clients, but I'm also in that process right now of a state of wait. And you know exactly what I'm talking about. I have a couple of things in the works and I'm waiting on a final sign off. The official, like I've gotten the good vibes and I think we're moving forward, but there's not the official sign off. And we're so close to Christmas. I really don't know that I'm going to get it until in January. Well, you know what? There's bills to pay between now and then. So it's also the great balancing act in that process of, wow, if these don't hit, then we have to make some adjustments. We'll see what that looks like. But that's normal business. That is normal business. With the training and development company, it's called Chrysaetos. We are ramping up because it's still a new brand for me. It's in its second year, I think, under that brand. And it doesn't get as much love and attention as it should. So we've got some plans for it coming up in 24, which I am pretty excited about what all's happening. I'm able to look at the marketplace and how that brand fits and how we are different and the whole value proposition we bring and how we just make things a whole lot more exciting to be a part of your own business. Like we're here to help you re-energize into your own business. So the extension of all of these things that I do with my businesses is this podcast, this show. And I have big ideas for this show as well. Like eventually I'd love to have it become a really fancy thing, or I have my own YouTube show, my own channel, and I go on site to the clients and I get to do B-roll footage and really dive into what they look like every day doing their business and all their great stories and best practices and all the things that we get to learn from each other. It's almost like a virtual roundtable that you can learn from without having to like show up every single day. But it's just additional, like we can learn from each other so well. So have all of these things rolling around up in my head, but it's the state of wait. And I don't do good with waiting. I'm not a very patient person. And I honestly don't know many entrepreneurs, business owners that are good with just waiting around to see what's going to happen. We're typically the type of people who are going to make something happen. So while I need to not give those new clients that are coming on board sometime soon I don't need to give them my anxious energy. I'm checking myself. Like, how am I showing up in this state of weight? And how is it affecting other people? Well, as I mentioned a little earlier, I've gotten a fair amount of sad news in a very short period of time. And so I am still trying to manage my emotional capacity every single day throughout the day. And when I need to show up, I need to not be in a sad place. I need to be able to show up in a much brighter attitude. Well, that's hard to shift in just like a few seconds. So I'm looking at my own self-management tools, my own emotional set of what does work for me and things that I've maybe having to reinvent the wheel a little bit on myself because well, I also learned in 23 that my old tools that got me to a certain level as in the character development, my leadership development, my professional, in my own personal development here, what got me to that point didn't get me through some things this year. So it's like, oh, I need new tools. I need new coping mechanisms. I need new things because the old ones either are no longer available to me, like a swing out on my deck, because this new apartment doesn't have that kind of, and my environment's different. So that coping mechanism's gone. What do I do now? Well, I have to figure out new things that give me the space that I need to be at peace, calm down, be even keeled so that I can recharge. If I'm getting drained at all, how am I going to get back to stable and then recharge myself? And those are the things that I'm looking at during this state of wait. It's also, we're coming up towards the end of the year. It's all kinds of plenty busy as it is with family and friends gatherings and celebrating the holiday and just and remembering those that have passed and being appreciative of those that are here and just really it's such an emotional season anyway. uh y'all, there are days there's so much that can happen in just a heartbeat of a day. And I highly encourage you to take a moment and breathe and look around at what is it that you really can control. If you are in a state of anxiousness, maybe you're in a state of sad for any of number of reasons. Maybe you're also in a state of wait. The first thing I would suggest, from what I have learned, is to take a moment for yourself to simply breathe. Pay attention to your breath. Believe it or not, it makes a huge difference. Are you shallow breathing, like barely breathing, and you just didn't know? Take some deep breaths, literally from your diaphragm, from your belly. Take it in, hold it for a count of 3 or 4. Take another little quick in, and then let it all out like a balloon, as much as you can get out of your system. And then you do it again. Because when you do that like 3 to 5 times, the only thing you can really pay attention to in that moment is how you breathe. Everything else disappears because you're concentrating so hard on breathing like that. And that creates mindfulness, that creates a moment where you have been in the moment. Then you want to create a way for yourself to get a ripple effect past that. How can you have something that helps you center in the moment? Because that is going to be a key factor on getting through states of chaos, anxiety, the state of wait, like you don't know what's going to happen next, the unknown, the uncertainty. The thing that can help the most is when you can feel centered and at peace. And the best way to do it is take a breath. And remember, you can breathe. And if you can breathe, you still have possibilities. And it may not feel like it, like our emotions can be all over the place. And my generation just had this conversation at lunch. My generation, we were taught to you shove that shit in the back corner and you just let it sit there. You got work to do. Nobody needs to know that back there. Nobody needs to be in that box or that closet. Leave it back there. But what happens that I'm also finding at this state of my life, as am 49 now, is that shit will come back and bite you. Sometimes literally in the ass or the hips or your joints, your knees, your sinuses, your hormones. It can come back and cause havoc in your body, in your molecular structure, your physiological needs change because your emotions have created this chemistry that you have locked away back there, and it changes things. And there are scientific studies to prove that that's a thing, from psychiatry to biology, like all of it. I have talked to psychiatrists, I've talked to chiropractors, I have talked to doctors, I have talked to plenty of people, and I've read a bunch of things because I was trying to convince myself all I really needed to do was that which I was being told to do. Eat less, work out more. I should lose weight. Well, y'all, that shit wasn't working. It still doesn't work. But I still need to do those things. I need to pay attention to what I'm putting into my body and the fact that I need to move my body. So those are just two objectives: healthy eating and healthy moving. I don't have to like work out to run a marathon, or I don't have to work out to become a bodybuilder. I don't have to do any of that kind of stuff. That's not the point for me. But the point for me is when I have such inflammation issues that it causes so much pain, it's not because I didn't work out or I worked out too much. It's literally I got an emotional trigger from something. And as a business owner, that seems so ridiculous that that's even a thing. But as I'm also coaching people through Chrysaetos, the leadership development, I'm finding that that is a real thing. One of the hardest things for a business owner to do is manage themselves and their people while managing the details of all the work. This is the super trifecta, if you will, that makes it really difficult. It's a very unique balance act that only business owners who invest in themselves and their teams can develop those tools to be able to do it well. This is why I'm in the business of both marketing and training and coaching, because communication and managing our energetic capacity, if you will, being able to manage how I'm showing up as well as lead my team to show up better, the work will get done. Well, the world outside needs to know that we're doing great work. That's marketing and what we have and how we can help them. But this whole managing all of these pieces and parts and on top of like that creates deadlines and pressure that emotionally, if we're off even a half degree in a day, sometimes that pressure is the thing that's going to break us. When in reality, it's something else in our lives that's happening that probably started 5 years ago that we never dealt with. The complexity of the human mind and our emotional state and how it affects our body and how it just creates these ripple effects in the world is so amazingly fascinating to me and beyond frustrating. Like it is a real thing. Now, this is the world I live in. This is what I'm paying attention to because I know that if I'm set, I've done my little checklist, I'm set, I'm good, I can show up and I can help other people through their stuff. Whether that be their marketing strategy, the overall business strategy, getting their teams on the same page with facilitation, or inspiring people from the stage with being super and superheroes. Whatever the case may be, I know I am providing an experience in the world, and I want that to be the most valuable experience you can possibly have. So most of you who listen may not think in terms like I do of putting, like, that sounds like a whole lot of work and a lot of pressure I put on myself. Well, yes, it is. But knowing that I understand myself well enough to know how I'm showing up for you you appreciate that a whole lot more because you know I am doing everything I can to be fully present with you. And you get all of that great strategy, the control, the I know how to flip this around for you. I can be there for you for that. So as a business owner, what do you do to be able to set your own an- anxiousness in a state of wait aside? Do you process it? Do you put boundaries around it? How do you function in that? I know for me, in this state of wait, I am doing all the piddly fart little things that I have like piled up over to the side because they haven't been in that matrix of high important, high urgency. No, they've been over to the bottom and they just pile up a little bit. So when I get into that state, what I do is I have that pile. I'm like, let me go get something done because I know myself well enough to know I love a gold check and I use gold instead of red. I love my little gold check on my checklist of things to get done. I love a sense of accomplishment. It helps feed my soul that I got something completed or accomplished, however you want to put it. It's complete. I did it. I made that phone call. I filed my papers. I did the dishes in a day, whatever the thing may be. But have a sense of accomplishment helps me go, okay, I'm not worthless today. So let's start there. And if I can do that, both in my business and my personal life, now I can start to feel this shifting, turning around. The other thing that I do that you may have not considered is music therapy. And it doesn't have to be hard. Sometimes it's just a matter of I need my favorite stuff. I need my go-tos so I can sing along at the top of my lungs. Well, not really here at the apartment that way, but maybe go to the car. I can sing at the top of my lungs. I don't have to sound good. I don't have to look good. I just love it. And it gets that out of my system. I am literally getting it all out of my system. The other thing I do with music therapy is depending on the state of what I'm dealing with, whether it be the uncertainty of the business deals, the uncertainty of revenue, the uncertainty of anything getting done, or I'm over capacity and I that kind of stuff. I will tend to listen to my upbeat, you can do it, motivational type of messaging within the songs. And when I say upbeat, it doesn't matter what genre. It could be everything from country to jazz to metal to good old rock and roll. It can be any of that as long as the messaging is positive. I don't want to bash anybody's head in. I just want to feel better about myself. So I pay attention to that as well. But the things that I enjoy singing, Dolly Parton is always at the top of my list. I'm a Dolly fan. The other thing about music therapy is sometimes I will, there are things that I found on YouTube. I think Spotify even has them now, where it's seriously, it is just this frequency music, which is fascinating, you guys. Fascinating. Frequency music. So you find the right frequency to help your own frequency and it's just fascinating. They have healing frequencies, they have focus frequencies. I'm getting into this thing, but I can only do it for like 5 minutes because I also need words to sing along with. So my attention span may not be that long, but it helps when I need to be fully present, breathe deep, and mindful. I can do that for 5 minutes, and that just helps me again get to that centering at peace, that kind of stuff. So why does all of this have to do with success in business? Because as a business owner, if you cannot get your shit together, get your head in the game, and get back out in the arena, you're not going to be able to do business to then make a big impact in the world to be successful. And you want to do that for yourself and your family and the community around you. It is a thing. And once we start to embrace that for ourselves, we'll learn how to actually incorporate some, I don't know, lack of a better word, self-care time. It could start with 5 minutes. Start with 5 minutes. but do something that is good for your head. So good, positive things that you're putting into your mind, your heart, what makes you feel good about the world in general, yourself, your family. When you can get to that place where you're in love with life, that is really awesome. And then something good for your body. So that's why I say music therapy, the breathing. Let's just start with the basics. But you align those three together, you will show up in an amazing way for yourself, for others, and the world around you. So, knowing that this is the end of the season, 24 is right around the corner, I highly encourage you to take 5 minutes for yourself during this busy holiday season to be able to center and find a moment of peace for you so that you can then share that with others. And with that, that is the episode for today, you guys. I appreciate you coming back every time to watch or listen, provide comments, talk to me at networking events about this stuff, or when I'm out and about. Love to hear the feedback, love to hear your stories. And I'm looking forward to more in 24. More in 24. What? That's going to be everywhere. We're all going to get sick and tired of it here shortly. But I do wish you guys a very Merry Christmas, Happy Holidays, any of the holidays that you celebrate. I hope that they are filled with joy. And with that, I've been your host, Christy Smallwood for Small Business Success Talk. See you again in 24.